box and whisker plot is just, it's another type of graph. You know, we do bar graphs, we do line graphs, we do all kinds of stuff. Well, a box and whisker plot is another kind of graph. And it shows actually a couple different things. It shows kind of the spread of the data and where things are. So just kind of giving you an idea about this. This one right here, this is be called your lower extreme. And that's just a fancy way of saying the smallest number. And this one is your biggest number, or your upper extreme. Okay, so this line that will be somewhere in the box, it could be on the left, the right, or in the middle. Okay, this line is your actual median of all your data. So if you look at all your data, it's your middle number, the median. And so this picture right here tells me that this bottom half of the data on this side of the median is scrunched together, whereas this one is kind of spread out. The numbers are a little bit more wider and things like that. Okay. And so we have names for these parts of the boxes. This one right here, this one right here, and this one right here are called quartiles. And basically the idea is it's splitting things in halves. This would be quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. So let's look at an example. It'll make sense as we go here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to find my median. So I'm going to look at the biggest and the smallest, and I'm going to keep on working my way in until I found the very middle one. And I find that 12 and 16 are together in the middle, so my median is going to be right in between 12 and 16. And if you've never done that before, we're basically finding the average of the two, or the median, the average of the two. So 12 plus 16 is 28. Divide that by 2, we get 14. It's also the number that happens to land right in the middle of 12 and 16. So my median is 14. Now, the other kind of interesting thing that we do is we find the median of this bottom half, just these numbers here. So once again, I do my biggest and my smallest, and I find that my middle two numbers are 9 and 11. So once again, I'll have to find the average, and I get 10. And then I find the median of the top half. So I whittle it down, biggest and smallest. These are my two in the middle. And I find that if I add them together and divide by 2, I get 22. So these are my quartiles. This is quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. This is also my median. Okay, this is also my median right there. This is my lower extreme. This is my upper extreme. So now I have to actually graph that. And to graph it, I need a number line. Now when I make this number line, I cannot stress it enough that when you make the number line, you cannot worry about all these numbers up here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the 5 and look at the 34, and I'm going to make sure that my graph has a 5 to begin with and it ends with 34 or somewhere around 34. So I'm going to go by 5, so I get 10, 15, 20. Notice I don't even care about the numbers in between. I am just going by 5s and including everything, so it should still be a number line. I'm not doubling anything, I'm not skipping anything, but I will have everything from 5 to 34 on here. Okay, so then I'm going to now put my points on there. So I need a point for the lower extreme, and I need a dot for the upper extreme. Okay, those are going to be the ends of my whiskers. The quartile 1, 2, and 3, those make the box. So I need to put the lines in my box at 10, 14, and 22, and then I'll connect them to make a box, and I'll draw a line for the whiskers. And that's how you make a box and whisker plot. Now the other thing that we worry about with box and whisker plots is what percentage do we have in each little section here. Remember, to get this one right here, we cut our data in half. Okay, so this half is half of my data, which is 50%. And this half is half my data, it has 50%. If I keep doing that and I cut it in half again, so I cut it in half again, this half will be half of 50%. This is 25%. And this half is 25%. And this half is 25%. And this half is 25%. It'll add up to 100%, but each one is 25%, which means from here to here, so from the end of my whisker to quartile 1, so from here to here is 25%. So this left whisker has a quarter, 1/4, or 25% of the data. This part of the box right here is 25%, and this part of the box is 25%, and this part of the box is 25%. So they all have the same amount of numbers. It's just that because this whisker is longer, it means that the numbers in there have more room to stretch out, whereas the numbers in here are all squished together. Okay, so that's all that a long whisker or a big box means, is that there's more room to stretch out and they're not scrunched together. There's still 25% in each part.